How do you deal with the imposter syndrome when you are trying to embody your wealthy woman era? For many of us, we see wealthy women as them, and then there is us. We are not wealthy women, we are not high value women, we are not important enough, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough etiquette, enough glamour, enough whatever. We don't have enough. And oftentimes when we try to begin embodying our wealthy woman era, when we try to enter that society or enter that class of person, we start to feel like an imposter. We start feeling like I can't be a part of that group because I am nothing like them, because I have nothing in common with them, because they are so much better than I am. Take it from me, I have lived that. I've been there where it feels like everyone around me has primarily more money than I do. And they have these beautiful lifestyles and these beautiful things, beautiful homes, these beautiful cars. They go to beautiful events. They go to beautiful restaurants, beautiful clothes. Everything is beautiful. And I would be left with what I felt was my non-beautiful life. And a lot of times I would put a price tag on everything, and that made me feel like such an imposter. Even around my best friends, around my closest family members, I would feel like an imposter because in my mind, everything had a price tag. In my mind, everything was, well, I don't have that much money. I can't buy this thing. I can't splurge on this. I can't splurge on that. I can't do this or that. I can't do the things that they do. And so it would make me feel like such a fraud for one thing, but it also made me feel incredibly embarrassed and ashamed every time I would enter some kind of situation where there was an obvious difference in how I was spending money versus how they were spending money, because they obviously had more money than I did. And so that would lead me to feel like I don't belong. I don't belong here. I don't belong with this group of people. I don't belong in this area, in this restaurant, in this place. I don't belong here. I need to go somewhere else. But I so desperately wanted to belong. I so desperately wanted to be included and be a part of that community. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with those feelings of, I'm an imposter. I don't have that money. And that's the key. Okay, that is the key. And that's something that I talk about that is literally the bread and butter of my guide, which is Guide to the Rich Mind, where I break down the thought patterns of wealthy people versus thought patterns of people who are not wealthy. And we really break down where you are, where I am in our thought patterns. We ask questions about our belief about money, and then we make the change. We transition into, I'm going to start thinking about money this way. So why do I bring that up? Because when we don't have a lot of money, we are hyper-focused on money. We're hyper-focused on the fact that I don't have money, they do. And when you're focused on that, then yeah, you are an imposter. Because there is a difference. There is a major difference between some people's income and somebody else's. There's a major difference. That doesn't mean you don't belong in the same space as them. And that doesn't mean that they don't want you there. For the longest time, I believed that wealthy people, wealthy women, that when wealthy women had become wealthy, that they were the ones that put the line between themselves and somebody that doesn't make a lot of money, whether that's, a middle-class person or a lower-class person, a lower-class income, a middle-class income, whatever that is. I had always believed that it was the people with a lot of money that put the line there. And in some cases, that is true. But what I realized was that it was not wealthy people who were putting the line there at all. Okay? Wealthy people, they have money. They use the money. They are able to afford the finer things in life. They are able to afford things that are nicer, that are a higher caliber, that, a higher quality, just more expensive, more luxurious. They're able to afford it. And because they're able to afford it, they invest in it. They buy it. They spend their money on that. It is by no means because they want to make themselves better than somebody who can't afford it. They simply can, right? They simply can afford it, so they do. And so they do buy. It is the people who don't have as much money as them that puts the line there. Why is that line there? We place all of the value, our value, their value, everyone's value, like I said, in terms of money. We put a price tag on everything. We put a price tag on ourselves. Well, this is how much I make in a year. That's how much they make in a year. That's their net worth. This is my net worth. We put a price tag on everybody. And we are so quick to talk about money. We're so quick to just latch on to money and think about money and focus on money. The one way you can embody your wealthy woman era, whether you have money or not, the one way you can embody that era without feeling like an imposter is to stop thinking about money altogether. When you see a wealthy person, are they talking about money? Usually not. They're usually not. When you see a wealthy person, they might be mentioning numbers and figures, but it's not in this self-worth kind of way. It is not in a, oh, well, they didn't give me this much money, or, this is just too much money, and all this stuff. That's not how they talk about money. They talk about money like, yeah, that's how much that is, right? They don't really attach any emotion to it. They don't attach any self-worth to it. They don't attach anything like that to it. It's simply a thing. It's a thing. But when you and I are talking about money, and when we are trying to move into our wealthy woman era, we are trying to move into that community, move into that society, move into that group of people, we automatically think, well, I have to have more money. I have to have that much money. I have to have that because that's what they're worth. That's what they have. And that's not the case at all. Embodying your wealthy woman era is more than just the price tag. It is more than just the money. It is more than just whether or not you're making a higher income, whether or not you're making 6 or 7 figures, whether or not it's more than that. It is so much more than that. Yes, on this channel, we talk a lot about how to present yourself. And that's honestly what I love about that wealthy woman era is how they really present themselves. They put a lot of time and effort into their presentation. They might not always be spending millions of dollars on themselves, but they are invested in their presentation. And that's what I focus on. I'm not focused on, well, I have to drop this much money in order for me to embody my wealthy woman era, because that's not true. That is not how that works. That is not your requirement for I'm a wealthy woman now. What should you be focusing on as you try to embody your wealthy woman era, and what should you be focusing on in order to not feel like an imposter? Well, you focus on doing the things that you love. You focus on your passion. You focus on what's important to you. Because that is a wealthy person's language. That is a wealthy person's language. Why? Because that's how wealthy people got wealthy, is that they lean in to this is what's important to me. This is what is important to me, and I'm going to pour myself into it. And so when you show up with passion, when you show up with fire, when you show up with ambition and this desire to grow, improve, thrive, and that's exactly who you are. And I know that because you're a part of this community, and you're a part of this community of people who are trying to embody this next level kind of person. You are a part of that community. So I know that that's who you are. I know that you are an ambitious person, and I know that you are here to grow, that you are here to improve, and that you are here for a purpose, for a reason. You have fire in you. Not just to make more money. You have fire because you have a purpose-driven passion. I cannot tell you the number of times that I have encountered a wealthy person, like wealthy, okay? And somehow I was able to separate myself from how much money I have, and I was able to just say, this is who I am, this is what I love, and this is what I'm trying to do, this is my ambition. And the conversations I could have with these wealthy people I mean, they were just so alive. The conversation was vibrant because they know. They know it's hard. They know it's hard to grow. They know it's hard to start something. They know it's hard to be different. I mean, look at them. They don't have your typical 8-to-5 job. They don't have your typical lifestyle. They are completely different than the majority of society. Trust me, they know that it's hard to be different. People talk about them. People say things about them. You and I, we've probably said something about them off the cuff without even thinking about it. Like, oh, right? So they know. They understand it's challenging. And they also know that sometimes it takes a long time to build your wealth. And it takes a long time to succeed. And it takes a long time to figure out what you want to do. It takes a while. And they understand that, you just can't settle for less. They understand that feeling because they couldn't settle for less. You have more in common with a wealthy person than you even realize because you have the fire that they have and you have this drive that they have. You don't have the result that they've reached yet, and they don't hate you for that. And so the next time you look at a group of wealthy people, obviously there are always those stuck-up wealthy people. Do not get me wrong. I've seen them. I've encountered them. They're not nice, and there's no reason for that kind of behavior. Okay, there is absolutely no reason for that kind of behavior. I think that it's absurd, that kind of behavior. When you encounter a wealthy person that, they achieved wealth and acquired wealth in the way that you want to acquire wealth. They achieved it and they built it based on passion and fire and hard work and purpose. They've done it. When you encounter those kinds of people, they are not going to be the ones shaming you, and they are not going to be the ones making you feel like you are less than them because you don't have as much money as they do. In order to embody your wealthy woman era, and in order to start, living into that community and becoming a part of that community without feeling like an imposter, you need to realize that you have worth in the fact that you're a beginner, that you have worth in the fact that you are in a stage of foundational building, right? Building your foundations. You are in a stage where you are starting. And no wealthy person that's worth being around is going to hate you for that. And they're not going to shame you for that. In fact, they might even come around you and help you, which would, right? Wow, that would be incredible. If a wealthy person were to see you and say, hey, can I give you some pointers? Absolutely, please, help me. When you see them as, they're not better than you. They're not worse than you. They're just people who happen to have a lot of money now and happen to live a luxurious lifestyle. They're just people. You're people, so, you're equal. Everybody's equal. And so you, once you realize that, you know what, I'm on the same level of, the same playing field as they are. I'm on the same playing field as they are. And I have the same skill set, and I have the same passion, and I have the same drive and the same spirit. I have all of that they do. When you realize that you have that, then, there's no reason to feel like an imposter. There's absolutely no reason for you to feel like an imposter because you're not. You're not an imposter. And again, if you encounter a wealthy person that makes you feel like an imposter, I'm sorry, just stop. Don't be around them. There's absolutely no reason for you to continue being around somebody that makes you feel that way. And so, I will repeat it. The number one way for you to stop feeling like an imposter as you enter and embody your wealthy woman era, the number one way that you cannot feel like an imposter is to realize that you are equal with them, that you have the same value as them, and that they have been where you are, See them more as a resource. See them more as a resource than something to compete with and something to be against. Remember, you want to be a part of that community. So stop trying to be against them. Stop hating them. Stop being angry with them. Stop demonizing them. and start seeing them as a resource. If there are wealthy people that you know, start being around them. Start trying to spend more time with them. Sort of embody embody their behaviors. Start acting more, taking more actions like they do. Don't act like them. You don't have to act like them, but take actions like they do. Start living your life in a way similar to theirs as best as you can with your current circumstances. And once you do that, once you start seeing them as, you know what, they are a resource, they've done it. They've done it. I want to do it. So I'm going to look to them for some guidance. They are the best resource that you have. They are the best resource that you have. And so look to them. Look to them for guidance. Look to them for input. Look to them for some kind of advice, even if it's just that you observe their life. The wealthy people in my life that I have observed, I don't go up to them and say, how did you build wealth? How did you become wealthy? I don't do that. I simply watch them. I observe. Okay, this is how they treat people. These are the kinds of action steps they take. These are the major failures they've encountered and how they reacted to that. This is how they live their life. And when you observe that kind of stuff, when you just watch them, you learn so much. You learn so much. That is precisely what the Guide to the Rich Mind is all about. It is literally observations. It is literally, this is what wealthy people are doing. This is literally what wealthy people are thinking. This is how they view their life. It is nothing like you and I. It is nothing. They do not view life and they do not view money like anywhere close to the way that a typical person does. It is completely different. And so stop feeling like an imposter. Again, you're not. I'm not. We're not. We are able to enter that community together. We are able to become a part of that community together. It's not about whether or not you wear Gucci. It is not about whether or not you're driving a Lincoln. And it is not about whether or not you live in a gated community and have corner office in some company. It is not about that at all. It is about what drives you. It is about who you are, what you are at your core, how you operate as a human, and how you operate within your life. And so stop feeling like an imposter because you're not, and start looking to them for guidance. Start imitating, and you will not feel like an imposter, and they won't think you're an imposter. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are interested in checking out the Guide to the Rich Mind, that is linked down below, so definitely check that out. It is an awesome resource for you. And definitely check out some of my other videos here on my channel where we are just talking all about how to embody your wealthy woman era and really step into this next level lifestyle. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you oh so very much. And until next time, so long.